Have you ever been judged, not for who you are, but for what you look like? Maya Johnson knew this feeling all too well. She walked into a luxury car dealership that day with nothing but confidence in her stride. But what she didn't know was that within minutes, she would face humiliation, disrespect, and blatant prejudice. What the employees didn't know: she wasn't just there to buy a car. She was about to buy everything. What happened next will shock you. Stay with us as the story unfolds. Subscribe to this channel for intriguing stories. It was a warm afternoon in Westwood. The glass doors of Westwood Luxury Motors slid open, and Maya entered. Tall, elegant, and poised, her aura commanded attention. Her heels clicked against the polished showroom floor as curious eyes followed her. But Maya wasn't dressed in the way people usually expected of a luxury car buyer. No flashy jewelry. No designer handbag. Just a simple black pants and natural hair tied in a neat bun. And in a world where appearances often speak louder than words, it didn't take long before the whispers began. On this day, Maya wasn't here to window shop. She came with purpose. Yet within seconds, she was spotted by Karen Matthews, the showroom's lead saleswoman. Karen had perfected her smile, wide, rehearsed, but brittle. And behind it hid something uglier. Karen's eyes narrowed as they swept over Maya's simple blazer and modest handbag. In her mind, Maya didn't look like the type who could afford a car in this showroom. She didn't even bother to greet her properly. Instead, she scoffed. "Ma'am," Karen said, arms crossed. "These cars start at $80,000. Maybe I can point you towards something more in your budget." The words were dipped in sugar, but the poison was clear. Maya's lips curved into the faintest smile. She didn't argue. She didn't defend herself. She simply asked, "Do you treat all your customers this way? Or just the ones who look like me?" Karen stiffened. But instead of backing down, she doubled down. "Well, I just don't want to waste your time. Surely you understand these vehicles aren't for everyone." The insult hung heavy in the air. Other customers glanced over, some whispering. Maya remained calm. But deep inside, a storm was brewing. She thought about the countless times she'd been judged, dismissed, or belittled just because of her skin color. Today would not be another one of those days. Still, she said nothing. She simply turned, walked toward the most expensive car on the showroom floor, a sleek black Bentley gleaming under the spotlights. Karen followed, smirking. "Beautiful car, isn't it? But maybe a little out of reach." Maya rested her hand lightly on the hood. "Tell me, Karen," she said softly, "what makes you so sure I can't afford this?" Karen's answer was sharp, dripping with arrogance. "Because people like you don't buy cars like this." The room went silent. The mask had slipped. The prejudice was no longer subtle, it was exposed, raw, and undeniable. For a moment, Maya's calm eyes met Karen's cold ones. And then, Maya did something no one expected. She reached into her bag and pulled out a black folder. She flipped it open slowly, deliberately. Inside were legal documents, thick with seals and signatures. Karen's smirk faltered. Maya's voice was steady, but it carried power that made every word feel like a blow. "Funny thing, Karen. Because as of this morning, I don't just have enough money to buy this Bentley." She paused, letting the suspense tighten like a noose. "I own this entire dealership." The crowd gasped. Even the manager froze in his tracks. Karen's face was drained of color. "What?" "You heard me," Maya said. She handed the documents to the stunned manager, who quickly scanned them. His eyes widened in disbelief, then he looked up at Maya with respect. "She's right," he announced. "Effective today. Maya Johnson is the new owner of Westwood Luxury Motors." Karen staggered back. Her arrogant smile had vanished, replaced by horror. The woman she had mocked, dismissed, and insulted was now her boss. The silence that followed was thick, until Maya broke it. "Karen, let this be a lesson. Prejudice will always cost you more than respect ever could. You judged me by my appearance, and in doing so, you revealed exactly who you are." The staff and customers erupted into murmurs, some shocked, some cheering quietly. Justice had been served, and everyone could feel it. Karen, red-faced and trembling, tried to protest. But, you can't. I didn't mean. Maya raised a hand. "Save it. We'll finish this conversation, in my office." The weight of those words crushed Karen. The hunter had become the hunted. The tables had turned completely. And yet, this was only the beginning. Because what Karen didn't know was that Maya hadn't just bought the dealership out of revenge. She had a much bigger plan, one that would shake the very foundations of the business, and expose secrets that Westwood Motors had kept buried for years. But that. Watch out for what happens next. The dealership manager, Richard, had just stepped forward, his polished shoes echoing on the tiled floor. He looked between Karen and Maya, his lips twitching with unease. "Karen," he said firmly, "I'll handle this." Karen huffed, folding her arms. "Handle what? She can't even afford the air in here, much less the car." The room seemed to go still. The other customers, who had been pretending not to notice, were now openly watching. A tension filled the air that couldn't be ignored. Richard adjusted his tie, forcing a smile at Maya. "Miss Johnson, is it? Perhaps we can continue this discussion in my office." Maya tilted her head, her calm composure cutting sharper than any raised voice. "Of course," she said softly. "But before we go." She turned, her heels clicking against the pristine floor, and addressed the room. "It's interesting, isn't it? That in 2025, a woman can walk into a dealership and still be treated like a thief instead of a customer." A murmur spread through the showroom. Someone in the back whispered, "She's right." Karen's cheeks flushed red. "You're making a scene," she snapped. "No," Maya replied evenly, locking eyes with her. "You made the scene when you decided to judge me by the color of my skin and not the content of my wallet." Richard cleared his throat nervously and gestured for Maya to follow him. They walked into his office, the door closing behind them. Karen stayed outside, fuming but straining her ears to hear. Inside, Maya placed the black folder on Richard's desk and slid it across to him. "Open it." Richard hesitated, then flipped it open. His eyes widened instantly. Inside were documents bearing the bold letterhead of Westwood Motors Corporate Holdings, the parent company that owned the very dealership they stood in. Maya folded her hands. "I'm not here to buy a car, Mr. Collins. I'm here to acquire the dealership. As of this morning, the papers are signed. You'll be reporting to me." The color drained from Richard's face. "Why, you're the new owner?" "Correct." Maya's voice was calm, almost gentle, but every syllable carried weight. From outside, Karen knocked loudly. "What's going on in there?" Maya smirked. "Why don't we invite her in?" Richard, still in shock, opened the door. Karen barged in, ready with another insult, but the words died on her lips when she saw the folder. "What's this?" she asked, her voice trembling. Maya rose from her chair, standing tall. "This is the future, Karen. The future where women like me aren't dismissed, underestimated, or humiliated. I own this dealership now. And you," she paused, savoring the moment, "are no longer welcome here." Karen gasped, her face pale. "You can't fire me." Richard cut in, his voice hoarse. "She can. And she just did." The silence in the room was deafening. Then, slowly, Maya walked toward the door. "You thought I was beneath you," she said, her tone sharp as glass. "But never forget this lesson, you never know who you're speaking to. Today's customer may be tomorrow's boss. Karen's knees wobbled. For once, she had no comeback. As Maya stepped back into the showroom, the entire staff and customers erupted in whispers. Phones were discreetly lifted to record. The sight of Karen, red-faced and defeated, beside Maya, radiant and composed, told the whole story without another word. Maya turned to Richard. As for you, I'll be reviewing the staff here closely. Prejudice has no place in this business. If you can't uphold that, you'll be gone too. Richard nodded quickly, bowing his head. Finally, Maya walked out of the dealership, the sun catching her elegant frame. Outside, she paused, inhaling deeply. For the first time that day, she smiled. Because justice had been served. Never underestimate someone because of their appearance, background, or skin color. True power isn't loud, it's revealed in the right moment, to the right people, in the right way. And as Maya's story proved, tables can turn in the blink of an eye. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel for more intriguing stories.